Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and Paladins fans around the world. My name's Rain Day, and I'm joined by Pretty Hair to welcome you to the Paladins Minor League. It is Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time here in Georgia, and we're excited to get going for some great games today with some great players.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a couple of good ones here that I'm specifically looking out for. If they don't go sort of the way of the upset, I think this could be a fairly quick day, however.
I think so, too. But, we have these new rosters that have started to form, and we've seen names and we've seen, adjustments. And we're going to get into EU first. Most of that transition has happened in North America, which will be on the backside of our broadcast. Let me walk you through what you can expect here today, though. Clownfiesta, all business, taking on each other in the first matchup. Then Sour Team, Blazing Hussars. They'll play. We'll take a little break. We'll go into North America to round out the day. Ferocity and Team Zenith. And then Nation of Power. This is the old Downfall roster who has some new adjustments here. It's now Stigma, Poison, Tay, Jay, and I believe T-Mac that are representing that roster. So a couple of changes, and should be very, very interesting on the back end of that.
Yeah, that is a team that in this roster change got their pick of the litter, so to speak.
Yes.
We don't really know exactly what catalyzed this change, but they were the ones that seemed to have spurred it on and got the team or got the players from the team that had just beat them for whatever reason.
Yeah, it just feels like everyone's trying to make that roster that's going to be able to take them through the long haul here, because we have qualifications coming up, and they're going to have to go through some big heavy hitters, not only in the PML, but in the PPL if they get that far. Clownfiesta and Sour Team, they're already at the top. They'll be facing off against their opponents, as you see, All Business and Blazing Hussars down below. So part of the reason we're saying could be a little bit of a faster day if things go according to the standings. But let's take a look at North America. Obviously, Downfall, or Nation of Power now, and Ferocity, the two top teams there. They will be playing against Bork and Zenith, respectively. So we have 1s and 2s facing off against 3s and 4s. Will we see an upset, or will we see it continue this route and further create that divide between the top and the bottom? That's what we're expecting to see here. Should be excited to get into these matches.
Even if these don't end up being the most competitive sets ever, I think the biggest thing to watch out, and especially for these teams today, the important note is that you need to do these cleanly today. Watch out for the map differentials, because these are the types of weeks where if you go into it a little overconfident, you drop a map, or God forbid 2 maps in these best of 5s, then you find yourself in trouble later on in the standings when you have that just couple of maps separating you, where these could have, should have, and would have been easy games.
Should be an interesting one. We've got All Business coming up, and they're going to be facing off, I believe, against Clownfiesta. Let me see if that's right. Yep, Clownfiesta. And so the ability for these guys to continue improving, I think, is limitless. There's a lot of great players on here. Obviously, you have Kamaker, who's an old school vet, and when you have that type of experience with them, you have an opportunity for that they're playing against Kamaker, but William Burke and Klosar, Zenost, these guys being able to, I think, continue to find good moments in the PML is what they should be looking for today.
Yeah, this is a roster that is coming hot off that win, and sort of like the first flip-flop now into first place. They've been chasing down that first place spot all split long, but now that they finally have it, hopefully they can keep that momentum going. And normally when we've seen historically teams that come from third or second place and finally get that top spot are very reluctant to let it go and very reluctant to underestimate any opponent, so I don't expect them to be off the gas whatsoever today.
Well, they're going to be playing against Clownfiesta, and these guys, they know what they're doing. Ovim, Erase, Bolka, Cruncy is banned, unfortunately, today for that team, but they have plenty of big stars and big names. And actually, we're hearing that he's not banned today. I'll wait and see what happens in game. I've heard it both ways this morning, so that'll be a game time decision, as we like to say in sports. Kamaker here is, again, not on this team. I don't know why I keep saying his name, but I think I was just looking at Kamaker's in my mind this morning. I don't know why, but Simsalou is really the guy that I think stands out for this Clownfiesta roster. Can he continue to be that like MVP level caliber player here and take them to the higher echelon of Paladins esports?
And when K-Crunchy being banned, and now this team is on the upstroke a little bit, it's kind of a bit of a conversation now, almost like how with the Renegades without Loki, they have Shadow now, and they're performing very well. So I think there is a little bit of a conversation there as to who does get that spot, who wants it most type of deal. And at least on Twitter, I saw that Crunchy was unbanned. The question for me is, before the games today or not? Is he back kind of in the full swing of it? Yes.
Yeah, it might be now, but the games, might have been played a little. I'm not exactly sure. We'll find out again. Game time decision. And we got maps coming up for you very, very soon. In fact, right now, Ice Mines, map 1, we see Serpent, Frozen, and Frog Isle and Bright Marsh Band. So that means that things could get a little interesting to the edge. Might see some Shattered Desert, obviously some Warder's Gate. But to start it out, we have a very kind of standard Ice Mines lately, because we've just been seeing teams go back to that one for whatever reason, getting a lot more comfortable with it this split.
Yeah, I don't think Ice Mines has ever seen this high of a pick rate across every single league. Yeah, everybody's starting to play this. It used to be that map where you went to slow the game down, but after you use it so many times for that purpose, it doesn't have that effect anymore, and then people just say, all right, well, we can just get good at this map then. Now
we know what we're doing, right? I think that's the big key. Mako and Torvald, and then the Khan and the Grover. What you'll see if you're watching yesterday in the PCL, there is a bit of a difference as far as the prioritizations. You're not going to be seeing first pick Victors or Vivians. You're going to be seeing more of the traditional PC meta, which doesn't prioritize that hit scan and that kind of console tracking aim character that just surges into power, so to speak, on the box and the PS4. So we'll actually take a look at the Inara and the Cassie being picked up. Cassie's been such a big dynamic here in EU and in general in Paladins.
Yeah, big game, and the only guy to run it on console is, I think, Emmett Payne, and he's been great on it. I think it's been a big boon to their success with that squad. Barrick, despite his prioritizations in the Premier League, he will go 5th overall. Pip definitely still hanging in there. I'm curious to see where Pip falls after his adjustments. I don't think he'll be picked up against Inara quite as much as he once was.
Yeah, I think, you have to kind of still look at what is he bringing damage-wise. Is it enough? And do you plan on getting a secondary healer to support it? Do you plan on the Mega Potion Pip concept? That hasn't been something that's, really surfaced lately. I don't know. It could be a full healer Grok or a full healer Pip. I mean, both of them at this point are kind of side healers,
Yeah. I wonder which way they will go.
It's an interesting looking lineup.
Everyone's got, I don't know, maybe they, with Buck being able to kind of look after himself, maybe both of them can go damage and still have, like, you heal Ash, I'll heal Barrett type of situation.
Buck, you do your own thing.
Right. I think, I don't know, on Ice Mines, Grok definitely, for me, feels like he leans a little bit more towards the damage, so maybe it is Mega Potion.
I don't know, Nick. I mean, this feels like All Business said, let's do something different, and they kind of went way different, and it feels like Clownfiesta are in a very nice spot. Obviously, the Inara and the Ruckus,
they are comfortable.
That's going to be interesting if the shock pulses can work. We've seen Grox have some great performances here as we Grok out on Ice Mines for set 1, game 1. Let's send it down to your casters.
Thank you, guys. Game 1 of the day, and Gore and I are picking it up exactly where we left off yesterday. End of the day on Ice Mines, and we're picking it up here again on Ice Mines. Nowhere else we'd rather be to start off the day.
Different drafts this time
yes,
around.
Definitely.
One side, again, like you look at Bomb King, Ruckus, Maldamba, Cassie, and Nara. I can't think of a single map. Like, there's maybe a few that I'd replace Bomb King with something else, but for the most part, that's going to be a team that works literally anywhere.
Right.
All Business, this is like we are playing Ice Mine specific map, and even then, you're kind of pushing it.
Well, they certainly have a lot of things to look out for. The 2 semi-healers, potentially full-time healers on either side. The Grok, as of now, is kind of hanging around the Ash. The Pip getting themselves in a position to heal up the teammates. You see a little bit there. But, of course, the Buck able to kind of heal themselves anyway. So, and he's doing a good job right now of finding some damage as well, is Closar. Ovum did get first blood, but Closar answers back with one onto Ovum as well. In the meantime, though, Clownfiesta find themselves 48%, but a clean zone here could keep All Business from even contesting.
Only a team with Ovum on it would have the Inara pushed up really far while the Ruckus is playing on the point. Like, that is the exact inverse of what you would normally expect. And it's just because he loves to get aggressive on it. But now, like you said, with the hold they have, with Ruckus getting aggressive, Crunchy's going to be in a really comfortable spot to just be able to kind of collapse in on everybody.
87% here for Clownfiesta. Make it 93. I don't think they're going to be in a position to contest, and they're not. And that was very clean there from Clownfiesta. I mean, and it was on the back of just a couple kills. They found a little pressure, traded 1 for 1 to start off the game, and then just zoned out from there. And they're keeping the foot on the gas here. Closar does answer with 1 back on this Buck. He's got an Inara to deal with now, so can't expect too much out of that. Actually, he's going very low. He needs to be careful here. But Clownfiesta doing a good job of staying aggressive on the back end of that point capture. They found a few kills, and they're already about halfway there with 2 minutes left.
I mean, this is a draft from All Business, I should say, that if it gets ahead, it is going to potentially steamroll.
Yeah.
Like, it gets ahead, and it will stay ahead if it gets there. But getting ahead is very, very difficult at first, especially with the draft that Clownfiesta has been able to come through. That's going to be a really good Evil Mojo to kind of stall things out and try to keep this at bay. But admittedly, and this goes back to something I said during the last game we were looking at yesterday, is you have to be, right now, this next minute and a half, your entire defense is, what are we doing next round to change our fight? Like, what are we doing for the point fight? Yes, we have to defend, but we need to figure that out too. And whenever we get a kill, we're one step closer to figuring out what are we doing right with this composition.
Well, they're charging up their ultimates as well, and that's kind of what you have to look out for because, as you said, I mean, depending on how a team wants to play it, if they're choosing kind of go for the defensive route and then win the point fights, you got to look out for that ultimate utility advantage. I mean, if you do this strategy and then don't have any ultimates ready for the point fight, kind of falls flat on its face. For the moment, though, they're holding well. 57 seconds left, about 50% of the way there. Clownfiesta, Buck, Closar holding up this ridge line here. There's the Hexafire, but is he able to find any targets? He finds a little damage onto the Ash, maybe a scrape there onto the Buck. He dashes in, finds the kill with the help of Simsy, and then gets himself back out. So this could be the opening Clownfiesta is looking for. They're finding some damage as well on the backside, and All Business pushed very heavily into the back of their base, and what was kind of an iffy Hexafire ended up being a lot of good damage and a couple kills here, and he's continuing his rampage. Simsy finds his second now in this fight on the Bomb King. The Buck now, everyone else kind of zoned off here to the left, and Simsy continues his shred through. That's his third now in this fight. Sticks one onto the Ash. She's very low. Down comes the Banner, keeping herself alive, at least at the minute. Nice Poppy Bomb gets her out of her zone, and he is the wedge that is forcing through All Business right now.
I mean, with these kind of bombs, with that kind of Poppy Bomb and that kind of presence from your Bomb King,
yeah, wow.
I don't know anybody that can stand up against that. And that's part of the reason Simsaloo, like, he has been talked about. There was a point where he was playing in the Premier League, and everyone was talking about him.
Yep.
Some things went down behind the scenes. He laid low for a little while. He came back in, and he was a sub for NIP.
Right.
And he looked phenomenal doing it. And then he's back in the minor league, and it's just, he's such a good player that is not necessarily been kind of gatekept in the minor league, but has been kind of spending that time finding his own way, right?
Sure.
Finding his own identity for it. And now he's finally here on Clownfiesta, and I mean, 7-1-3 kind of speaks for itself. This Bomb King play is so difficult to go up against. And I feel like even Davozy makes the right call there. You need to go for your ult.
Right.
That Poppy Bomb was just too good.
Just perfect. The moment Davozy touches down, gets Poppy Bombed out of his immunity zone there. Simsaloo.
And then the 1-2 tap.
Then the 1-2 tap cleans it up. The Bomb King, the thing to watch here, especially in these tight quarters. A good Evil Mojo gets him turned into a chicken, gets him cleaned up. So Xenost finding the target he was looking for there. So without Simsy, how can Clownfiesta do? They're on the back foot right now, and Ineffable cleaning up one. Erase is going to be the guy who potentially can turn this fight around. Down comes the Seismic Crash. It finds two, but Erase gets cleaned up by Ineffable as well. Ineffable on the Grok finds two and turns that fight on its head, and All Business stabilized, and with the fast cap, they're already up to 70%.
Krusty was just hanging out. There's going to be the Hexafire to the face, shotgun blast for that Barrack, but it's not going to be enough. William Birkin just kind of dances around the shield, finds the shots he needs, and he's just hanging out.
The King Bomb does roll in, actually finds one, trades out his life here, 97%. Nobody else, at least in the moment, in the position to contest. Overtime ticking away kind of slowly. Can the Inara touch? She does. So Ovum actually gets in and gets the touch, but he's going to fall now. Overtime's going to start ticking away much faster. Closar cleaning that one up. William Birkin dropping Erase as well. So All Business, a little bit of a shaky end to that team fight there, but they find themselves a point. But Crunty finding themselves a couple kills and some damage here on the backside, but down he goes as well. Now things may be slowing down a little bit, and Clownfiesta try their hand at defense.
And there were two things that really worked out well for All Business there. Partially was the fact that they killed Bolka so early on. So all these front lines, everybody that's still alive, I think Simsaloo died just before him, didn't have their team. They didn't have any support coming down. No Swift Spirits to make them move a little faster, to get them either in or out. Nothing to keep them alive. And, of course, it's just that Evil Mojo's really, really good, and when you can charge it up 2, 3, maybe 4 times around, and you're getting those executes onto targets like an Inara, like a Bomb King, you just get rid of those threats, especially on a map like Ice Mines. It makes things just smooth sailing. And
that was another beautiful Evil Mojo coming out there on the side of All Business, and it cleaned up 2 of them. The Ash immediately, or the Bomb King immediately dropped. The Cassie immediately dropped. I mean, that was a beautiful use of that. I forget, maybe it was on Ice Mines. There was one game that we saw, and I remember we were taken aback a little bit because it was like, the 68 ultimate game from the Pip, whatever game that was, and we haven't really seen it much since. But seeing it maybe a little bit more now here. 38% already on that Evil Mojo. 45% on the back end of a heal and a little bit of damage. That's kind of the thing to watch here. William Birkin drops Crunty. It's a long walk back to the payload here, so every kill is going to be a little bit of a detriment to your side. Erase on this Cassie, making his presence felt so far. Ash is going to shoulder bash her way out, keep herself healthy. But holding down this top ground is Clownfiesta. 45 seconds left. Still a good bit of distance to go, and now the full court press comes in from Simpsy. He found himself too, and looking to keep all business on the back foot.
And now he's just trying to find that aggression, right? And I feel like if you could match Simzalu's level of impact here with a raise, this game would be going much different. But it's just like this Cassie is very, I mean, just hit or miss, not just based on her shots, but the damage output she's doing, the targets she's choosing, whether or not it hits the right people is really where it's been. A raise, making sure his name is heard here, but I mean, almost immediately traded out.
Do trade out a couple here. The Tempest was out. The Hexafire is available. He chooses not to use it here. Close are ineffable. Each picking up one in this fight. The Tempest did go down with 5 seconds left here. Ash needs to get a touch. Davazy needs to find some presence on the payload. They are going to do it, but overtime's going to tick away once Simpsy cleans up this 1v1. And it doesn't look like All Business is in a position to get a touch on it, and they're not. So now it's 3-1 Clownfiesta. 4 ultimates up on either side, but they use the Tempest maybe to try to get the train rolling at the end of that fight, but Simsalu shut it down.
And the big thing is actually in this area where you see Simsalu ulting now, he needs to be very, very cautious how he approaches that fight at the beginning of the round, because Evil Mojo's up. Evil Mojo through that one little doorway is what caused them to lose the point last time. Comeback mechanic is enabled this time. They don't even have to have anywhere near the kind of zone that All Business had last time. So if you find that ult and you find it hits you, you're going to be in trouble. But King Bomb's available, has some CC immunity, so if you can start it up early, maybe you can roll through, waste an Evil Mojo, and still get the impact that you want.
Well, the important ultimates are ready for both sides. The Dread Serpent will probably charge on the back end of the initial engagement here, so that'll be ready. The Tempest as well, about 50% of the way there. This is do or die now for All Business. You know, you think about going the distance. So here is the King Bomb that we were looking for, as well as the Seismic Crash. Finds a couple. The King Bomb finds one as well, but the Dome Shield has come out now. And there's the Evil Mojo, and it drops over him. That's the point tank now down on the side of Clownfiesta. A nice Dread Serpent finally comes up, gets a few fears. But now Pip is utilizing that jumping, the jumps on the Pip kit inside of that zone, and it dropped Erase on the backside as well. And now All Business have retaken the point here, 23%. With the fast cap, they could zone out and they could make it 2-3.
I honestly can't explain that fight better than Xenos just has really, really good trigger discipline, right? Every single person on Clownfiesta immediately threw out their CC immune ults. They go through the doorway, and then every single ultimate gets dropped into an area. Whether it's good or not, didn't matter. They threw it through, and then 2 seconds later, they all get Evil Mojo'd, and 2 of the front lines end up dying. Now, though, they're coming back with a vengeance. They're coming back pretty strong.
You have to watch out. Some kills now dropping on the backside of that fight. Erase coming back. Simsalu drops one as well, and Clownfiesta stabilize on 99% in overtime. And now if they zone, this game could be over. Both teams have used all their ultimates. This just comes down to whether or not you can find the kills on the side of All Business and whether or not Clownfiesta can stay alive. At the moment, they're doing just that. 75% here on the point. A stunned up Closar is going to be held off the point. It's just Ash right now up front and contesting. Davazy going very low. That could be bad for them if he goes down. He doesn't, but the zone is strong enough. And Clownfiesta find a 4-1 on Ice Mines.
And that honestly is, there's a lot of push and pull coming down. I think All Business, their draft could have worked, but the thing that was making their draft work wasn't anything really outside of the Evil Mojo coming up as often as it does. Like, that is always going to be really impressive when you're being able to find those ults, find those kills. But when it's only the one champion that's really making the true difference, like Buck, I don't see why pick him over insert other champion here other than maybe sometimes his headshots hurt.
Well, looking for something that maybe would have changed the tides. It didn't work out in All Business's favor this time. Clownfiesta going up 1-0. Let's send it back to the desk to break it down.
Well, Clownfiesta, they do their thing as we would have expected. 4-1 on Ice Mines. Not the worst. They drop a point. There was some good team fights there. And the Evil Mojo, you know, definitely sealed the deal on one of them, but wasn't enough. I mean, Clownfiesta just clearly showing up with a strong lineup. It's not like the Buck didn't work, though. I mean, it had a couple of shining moments. It just wasn't enough.
Yeah, a big part of Ice Mines and Frozen Guard and Fish Market and other maps like that that have just this brutal zone, oftentimes it comes down a lot to who gets their ultimates off in an effective way first or faster.
Right.
And you saw it right there. I mean, when it was a more effective Evil Mojo, All Business just won that fight in zone, and nobody in this league is so bad that they can't win an Ice Mines zone with the comeback mechanic.
Absolutely. And I think this is just a great example too. Yeah, the ability for Simsaloo, man, to play this way with the chain reaction. It's not easy. You got to land these bombs. One of the things I love about his tech is he throws one, maybe nails it, and then he throws one down in the path. So he gets that bonus damage, even if that little thing kind of slightly hits, and it really increases his DPS. I love it.
Yeah, that's a big part of staying effective with chain reaction. You don't have to get the direct sticks, and you can salvage a lot of those moments, and that's why you do see Simsaloo. He'll throw, get a stick, and then he'll just throw like 2, maybe 3 more just to see if we can go fishing for something beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a great level of confidence to see from a player when he's so aware that, you know what, my damage will show up. I don't have to hit you now. I don't have to burst you down now. There's almost like a panic syndrome that we see with some players where they're like, oh, I got to get this kill. I got to hit this shot. But Simsaloo seems patient. He always seems aware. He always seems like he's got you figured out and is not worried that you're going to escape, his like escape room, so to speak. He's like, I got you locked in, and shows. Clownfiesta absolutely super strong today. And continuing this, how do you switch this up? Because to me, there's not a lot to learn from that. You get Ice Mines, you have this crazy double healer, kind of off healer draft. What didn't work about it?
I think since week 1, All Business have been a little bit looking for their identity, if they want to be that weird team or if they want to try and beat one of these top teams with a more stable, consistent lineup. And so far, they have been the weird team. So calm it down a little bit, maybe get even weirder. I don't know. It's tough at this point. You got to go one way or another. And if it's going to be the maps, I guess it'll be the maps.
It's hard because if you're meeting a team who's just firing on all cylinders like Clownfiesta, contesting for the top, trying to beat them at their own game, it's tough. So trying to create your own game, I understand the idea. Will the philosophy pay out? That's a question they're going to have to answer. Cassie banned here by Clownfiesta, and then of course the Torvald ban as well from All Business. Grover and Khan, I believe, were our other bans, so we'll see if that continues.
Clown are getting one of them. Makoa or Grover, take your poison.
Oh, that's right, it was Makoa. So I don't know. Will they actually be loving the Grover here?
I can get us out of here alive.
I see the Ash.
Stay close and
it makes sense to me. I don't know if
I actually really like Grover on this map. I think based on the way that I've seen it played, and granted that's only a handful of times, I do like the fact that Grover can always be around basically the entire team and get that ultimate charge up very, very quickly as a result of that. Very team fight heavy map, a lot of rotations, a lot of movement, not a lot of just AFKing on the objective. Unless you're Na'Vi, then you somehow have the magic formula to do that on every map.
Right. They do whatever, man. And Lazy just plays that point. That is his meta game. He's done the thing with that objective. At this point, Ash and Pip for Clownfiesta now looks like a pretty dangerous combo. And the Leon, so they have a lot to deal with this Barrack Genos, who was first picked by All Business.
Yep, they might be looking for another Ruckus here, which is potentially why they ban out the Cassie.
Go ahead.
Normally you don't allow, you do the random ban if you're second pick to leave another power pick open, and it's not a super common first pick move. Genos is a good look, though. He's definitely on the come up right now. All Business could look to make that their thing very quickly.
Hot right now.
He's so hot right now. And if they can just get him in a position to be successful, which they do have him right now, I'm curious to see what they round out with. But right now they have a great base for building a Genos style of comp.
Well, here's Grover. So we did expect to see him. So he'll be doing that main heal role. Pip will be free to be in the hands of Simsaloo, see or Raze on that Leon. And that's a lot of damage. I don't know if All Business have a lineup equipped to deal with it quite yet. The Zen could be the factor that changes a lot. But this Shaolin, rounding things out. A lot of long lines of sight on this map. I've seen people play it before. Purdo actually went to it, I believe, in his set last week with Sour Team. But is it there?
He's going to hit really, really hard. I think Explosive Arrow is kind of where the flavor is for Shaolin right now. If you throw the Luminary bonus damage on the base of the arrow and then the Explosive Arrow damage on top of that, I mean, that is one of the hardest hitting single instances of damage in the game.
That's true. We'll have to wait and see. Will Luminary Genos augment this Shaolin to be that effective that All Business can tie up the set? We'll find out on the Shattered Desert.
Thank you, gentlemen. Into Shattered Desert we go. And interesting map choice. We haven't.
Yeah.
This is only the third or fourth time we've seen it, but it is starting to pick up a little bit in popularity. Kind of that roundabout team fight that happens on the initial point makes for some interesting games.
And based on what we were doing just before it came to us, I feel like we should change the intro to be like a very old, style Western
right.
like
tumbleweeds going by. Tumbleweed rolls by in the background. Well,
it'd be good. It is a desert. It makes sense.
It is a shattered desert. Initial Luminary buff going on to Closar here. It's kind of funny. I mean, it really is almost a big roundabout. It's like four members of one team go on one side with one flank from the other, and then the same thing essentially on the opposite side. All business, though. Holding down the other side of that circle. Inara pretty much just chilling on the point, which is what you would expect from her. On a map like this, Ovim getting a little bit low here. Getting some healing, though, from the Grover. As long as the Grover hangs around him, he'll be nice and topped off. And there's just a bunch of side fights going on, and all business need to be careful. If this starts going up high enough and they start stacking kills on the back end of it, this could be an easy 100-0 first point fight, and some engagement starting to come out here. But Bolka picks up 2, and Ineffable cleans up 1 as well. But 99% overtime's ticking away. Clownfiesta look poised to take this one.
And Erase, as well as Ovim, kind of showcasing why this point fight is so clean. And it's just because you can dance around the statues. I mean, right now, all business, they have to dive in, just like you said. 99-6, you have to be on this point to get overtime. But you don't have that opportunity to really dance around the statues the way Ovim has. So he's got the cover, he's got the Inara just health that she has and tankiness that she has inherently. And then you have Erase just kind of sitting on the side doing exactly what you want out of your Leon, which is just consistent, constant damage.
And they were just able to stall it out long enough. I mean, by the time that first fight broke out, they were already at like 70-something% there on the point. And then the fight goes in their way. That was played very well here by Clownfiesta. Now the push begins. K Crunty getting very aggressive here on the back line as this Ashe. He is going low, getting some healing though from the Grover. Nice job keeping himself alive, dancing around that shield, dropping one on Ineffable. In the meantime, shoulder bash going in. Barrack's low, the bowling ball shoe is going to keep him alive. Back he goes into base. And Crunty doing a good job of zoning. He's zoning out 4 members right now, and the ultimate comes down, just cut off short. So that'll still remain charged up for the next time, but he was doing a good enough job of zoning out so many members of all business. The payload now is already around the corner. The Evil Mojo comes out, finds a couple, and Simsalud drops 2 as well.
And just being able to find that double kill. And honestly, that's the first thing I was going to say. Until I started talking about music, coming into this game, there's one thing you need to be scared of. And admittedly, yeah, Erase is looking really good on this Leon. Ovim's on probably one of his signature champions. But so is Simsalud.
Yeah.
And Simsalud is going to be the one that I think is going to be a lot more difficult to lock down from all business. I don't think they truly have someone who's going to be able to find the 1v1 against Pip, win the 1v1 against Pip, and make sure that happens regularly enough in this game that he has less of an impact. I mean, even throughout all this, you never truly see the impact he's having because you're never really watching him. He's just, every now and then there's a potion that comes through, either to heal or to do damage. And while he slowly builds up that Evil Mojo, all of a sudden, your front lines don't matter anymore.
That's right.
Like, there's no defense.
He's kind of the quiet impact player on the backside. He did find 2 kills, so making his voice heard, not being very quiet there towards the end of the last round. Already 24% now on the Evil Mojo, and he used it just a few seconds prior to the end of the last round as well. So that's that fast-charging Pip ultimate we were talking about in the last game. Likely going to be up here. Only the Ashe ultimate is ready. All business having a few to play with on their side as well. Maybe looking to go more aggressive this time. At least initially, Closar is doing just that. Onto the point they go. Grover's going low on the backside as well, and dropping Bolka and Erase is a great way to start here. Ineffable on the Shaolin, finding a couple for himself. Now Inara is going to be the next to fall. And you have to watch out now on the side of Clownfiesta. The fast cap is going to be coming out. The hard zone as well. And all business poised themselves to take point number 1 for themselves here on Shattered Desert.
And that was honestly just a good old-fashioned, I guess, Paladins style play, where it's just like, cool, you used your ults and got the point in to get a 2-0. We didn't use our ults to get the defense, so we're just going to come in with comeback mechanic and win the fight, as long as we can hold on to it. But right now, Simsy tried to have something to say.
Tried to have something to say, did find Closar, ended up trading out his life. Ovim is going to be the next to fall, and Ineffable doing a nice job on this Shaolin this game, finding a couple kills to set up that point capture for them, and holding down this backside for them as well, trying to help All Business push it through and tie it up right now. But now it's Clownfiesta's chance to try their hand at some defense. And K. Cruncy was a guy who kind of had an impact in that first point going through, so imagine it here. Unfortunately, he gets void gripped up and dropped by Ineffable. Closar as well doing some damage there. He cleans up the ruckus, so a bit of a 1-for-1 here on this defensive stand. But still plenty of room to go right now, and it's been an interesting battle to kind of watch unfold here. It's been Erase doing tons of damage, but then it's been Closar turning it back around on him, and both teams really jockeying back and forth for position here, and nobody really coming out on top just yet.
And Cruncy finally taken down once again. Unfortunately for him, I'm pretty sure that was essentially off cooldown. The minute he respawned, he runs back, he dies.
Right.
And that's kind of the unfortunate spot for Clownfiesta here. This is a good aggressive team, and I feel like maybe depending on where Simsy is standing, it's going to be good for defense, but there's not as many spots on Shattered Desert from what I've gathered, especially around this corner, where the chokehold really feels like a chokehold, right? They have to come around that corner and kind of get into the open where you can see them from their base before it holds down. So about this 3/4 mark for All Business is where it's going to get very difficult. And you can already see getting a kill there onto Closar. Everyone's really in vision. There's no way to sneak around here.
Right. They do have only about a minute left here on the side of All Business to get it pushed through. And this is honestly the same storyline that we saw last time, where Clownfiesta pushed 2 through very quickly. They lose the point fight, but then they get the defense, they get the final point fight. So along the same lines as the last game went, Clownfiesta now putting on the full court press, about 30 seconds left here for All Business to try to get back to the payload and get a touch. Some ultimates now available on both sides. The Whirlwind is the only one down for Clownfiesta, but that's pretty quickly charging, and it'll come back up soon. Closar drops with only 20 seconds left. That's going to be a tough one if Clownfiesta choose to put the foot on the gas right here. But a 1-for-1 trade so far. Now it's going to be the Pip and Ineffable going back and forth against each other. Simsalute gets the upper hand on that one. Make it 2 for him. William Birkin goes down with 9 seconds left. You got to imagine this is going to be a Clownfiesta stop, and they have 5 ultimates going into the next round.
And this is exactly what you would want out of someone like Simsy, to be able to have that kind of performance, get a double kill, apply tons of pressure using beautiful movement mechanics, and didn't even use his ult. Was able to maintain that. In fact, everybody on Clownfiesta was able to maintain that. And between him and Erase, there's a lot of damage. And when you're looking at locking down, the follow-up, I guess, for an Evil Mojo, Erase so far has been perfect with these shots. And I think between the two of them, that should be double, triple kill coming down at least at the beginning, as long as they hit 3 people with the Evil Mojo.
Of course. That is the big if. On the opposite side, though, Xenost, 13 streak for himself, so doing a good job of maintaining his distance, not dropping right now. A few resiliences, though, coming out on the side of All Business as well, so that's something to look for. If they get Evil Mojo'd up, won't last quite as long, but those chickens are very squishy, so very easy to drop as well. Simsy just looking to find the angle for himself here, looking to kind of go the roundabout way. He's doing just that. He's going to find a ruckus around the corner from himself. Not going to use his Evil Mojo just yet. He does use it on Davazy, so it's a 1-for-1. Ovum and Davazy both falling early on in this fight. Erase now trying to find the damage. Be careful if you're Ineffable. On this Shaolin, you're going low as well. Ultimate's starting to get popped. The Dome Shield comes out as well, and that's going to buy All Business some space. Speaking of space, through time and space comes out. Goes a little bit wide, and the All Business health bars are low, but Clownfiesta are the ones who are falling in this one. Davazy drops one as well, and now his eyes are set on the Ash. Cruncy falls, and All Business look to find the upper hand in this fight.
Some of the plays coming down from Clownfiesta there were clean, but just a couple of small decisions put them out of position and ended up kind of making their decisions for them. They didn't really have that choice. And that's what I want to say. Cruncy had a beautiful, play to ult into the Dome Shield, make sure it's not going to deal damage to him, but then didn't really do anything from that position, which is unfortunate. And again, fast cap enabled for All Business. They can stay alive here with awesome William Birkin, but they can still hold on.
It helps when you have Closar going on a flank. He's actually unable to clean up, Simsalute there, and actually 3 kills coming out for Clownfiesta, make it 4. And they flipped this one on its head. All Business wasn't able to zone out well enough and find the kills, and Clownfiesta now 93% on the point, and All Business is so far away. I don't think they can contest, and they can't. Clownfiesta turn it on its head again. Honestly, it was the same exact, literally a spitting image of what we saw last game, where they won 2 very quickly. All Business answered back with 1, and then a close team fight there at the end, flipped it on its head. Clownfiesta take it again.
I mean, All Business are very much in that area where it's like when we have ults, we can punch back just as hard, but the minute the ults disappear, it shifts everything right back over to Clownfiesta.
Well, Clownfiesta take it 2-0 here in the series. Let's send it back to the desk to break it down.
Well, that was interesting, and we got to see the power of not only Burst Heals and Grover and Pip, but the power of Moxie, as that ended up saving Simsy's life, kept Clothesar from snowballing on that Zen, and man, oh man, unfortunately, put Clownfiesta in a 2-0 lead position. A lot of retakes, a lot of initial dominance again by Clownfiesta, but the comeback mechanic seems to be the only way that they're able to really get themselves a point here.
Yeah, Clownfiesta, they're not so far ahead that it doesn't matter when All Business come in for the first time with ultimates, but Clownfiesta definitely look like they learn quickly. Like, it's like, all right, that's how they're going to play these fights most likely when they have their resources available to them. This is how we're going to adjust. Then they do, then they win. I do like Clothesar on the Xin, though. I think, Xin Genos is something they could potentially look for later in this set. I think he's really, really good on this champion. Some of his highlights coming into the day were on this character from weeks past, especially if we have to go to some other Zim favorite maps, of which there kind of are plenty as we're starting to learn. Xin is almost in tandem with Genos Rising, and that's not exactly surprising.
What's interesting, too, is that this was actually a matchup Barrick struggled in. For being such a good point tank and being so dominant, when you look at the Grover and the Pip, and you saw even Zen have issues with it, and Barrick can't come close to that type of damage, the ability for them to just kind of, okay, Barrick's hit him once, twice, but then just heal themselves, get out, now outmaneuver Barrick, it's tough for him because normally he is that guy that can get those last hits on the champions, finish them off, and then, you're done. There's nothing you can do about it.
That's why I don't talk a lot of crap about Lazy's Barrick right now, because I don't fully know how they do it as well as they do it. I think Spunky has a big part in dealing with that. I think that whole team has a big part in why Lazy can get away with the stuff that he gets away with.
Yeah.
And I think that's honestly a pretty good thing that I think a lot of other teams should be studying right now.
The pressure that they're applying, it just seems like it's impossible to stop. Clownfiesta, they're on a win streak. They're trying to keep it going here. One more game will do it. And we are closing in on the picks and bans for that one very, very soon. It's been a kind of a whirlwind of a start, and I know that they were hoping for a little bit more on the side of All Business, but you have to now make an adjustment on the adjustment. Your Ice Mines, your Shattered Desert, not the most optimal starting maps as far as like getting a good bearing for what's up, but this is where we are in Paladins right now. You have to play these maps well.
It feels like it's almost a boon that Clownfiesta have their captain come back in, something to rally behind, in addition to the fact that they've just taken over the first seed spot. So for some of the reasons that I think roster changes are going to hurt some of the teams in this week in particular, I think their roster change, it looks like it's helping Clownfiesta, and All Business, unfortunately, on the wrong end of that stick.
Here, Stonekeep will be map number 3, and we'll see if it all ends there. We haven't seen notably Tyra today in the sets yet, and it's only been 2 games, but she's been really prevalent in Europe and in the Paladins, Minor League and Premier League. The Shaolin was interesting for me. I don't think it worked, and the Ashe was clearly very, very successful. All Business going to ban it out, and the Makoa will stay banned. So now Torvald getting a little shake here. All Business going to let that guy through. Oh, it looks like they might, and Clownfiesta now are saying, are we going to let it through? So All Business might be able to pair something with the Torvald. They're going to say no. We don't want any of that funny business, but they do get the con if they want that.
Torvald plus X has been one of the combinations that has thrown seeding out the window in leagues in the past. It just doesn't matter. Sometimes it's too much to take down. I mean, last season,
too many variables.
I think it was Stonekeep, Willow, Torvald, NIP just embarrassed Javi. They slaughtered them with that combination, and that was a very strong champion for the time. Torvald made it an even worse problem, but still, that just goes to show you that even some of the best in the business haven't quite figured out how to deal with it yet.
Yeah, there may just be no mathematical way to deal with it with the amount of damage that he does. And the way Nightshade Willow was functioning last time as well. Since Torvald scales on abilities, one of the only champions, unlike Genos, with damage amp, but this damage amp doesn't just apply to your autos, it applies to every ability you have. So that 800 burst was like 1200 or something. It was pretty nutty. Barrick here, Grover, and Khan. Really solid lineup for All Business right now. Clownfiesta back to the Pip.
Definitely. This Pip could be a big, big boon for them. I think it has to be with Bomb King banned away. Simsalo, at this point, is just pretty comfortable on it, I would imagine. He played it last game.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely knows his way around it. Has been one of the guys that has always played it. They grabbed the Cassie as well, which is going to be real good for taking down some of these beef boys. All Business have kind of found themselves.
And we have seen that this just dynamic of the blaster kind of hit scan / projectile champion. That mix and match is really something that almost the highest of high teams excel with. And that's what Simsalo brings. Raze is able to get these Leons, these Cassies, no problem, and do very well. And then Pip Bomb
the
King,
powers they
Eevee,
were graced
Simsy
with.
can play all that, and it gives Clownfiesta this special edge. Leon and Victor here, I don't know how I feel about that. Again, for me, that type of damage is very one-dimensional on this map. And the Ruckus here is going to, match them toe-to-toe for damage sometimes and even beat them in burst if he gets those missile launchers off.
Yeah, absolutely. Ruckus is going to bully down a lot of this back line. And there's not a ton of mobility there either to get away from K. Cruncy on the Ruckus, which clearly feels like one of his most, comfortable picks.
It probably is. And it could be the end here for All Business. Clownfiesta trying to do it in 3. Let's take it down to Stone Keep and send it to Dave and Gore for maybe one final lap here.
Thank you, guys. And it looks like in this game, it looks like Clownfiesta have gotten a lineup that they really enjoy. They've kind of had the different pieces put together in game 1 and 2, and I think that this is one of the. Actually, it's very similar to what they had last game, and it worked out well for them, just a couple piece or two changing. And I think the Clownfiesta lineup this game is kind of what they've been aiming for, and I think that's pretty scary on the side of All Business to have to go against.
And honestly, it's a really, really good draft for Stone Keep, although Cruncy takes in a lot of damage early on, does kind of thwart, I want to say, how aggressive they want to get, but it doesn't stop him for long.
No, it doesn't. William Birkin does clean up Cruncy. Simsaloo, though, cleaning up Ineffable. But now the Clownfiesta aggression can come out. Barrack having to jet or rocket boots his way out of this one. There is somebody contesting the point down to the left, trying to keep them in the game, but they're going to go down as well. That was Davizy. Ovum cleaning him up, and Clownfiesta with a very aggressive push, only trading 1, but get themselves 39% in climbing on the point.
This is just a standard zone,
standard zone.
coming down from I was like I was looking at this pip and I was like, is he gonna do anything crazy? Is there gonna be anything amazing? Nah,
They're just gonna zone.
Taking some shots, making sure everyone gets dismounted. Cruncy's been pretty aggressive this game, and pretty aggressive for a team that is as aggressive as Clownfiesta means that he is diving 4 or 5 people and usually trading his life out for it. At least so far that's been the case this game, but every single time he's distracting. All of like 3 members of All Business there turn around to look at this Ruckus outside their base. They are not going to make it to the point because of that. And so even though he's dying, even though it doesn't look like he's actually being able to do much in terms of like damage or kills, he's buying so much room on the map that it made that point so easy.
It did. That was a clean 100-0 about 2 minutes into this game. So that was a wild one. The Evil Mojo comes out onto Davizy. That's going to be good. He's going to go down at the hands of Cruncy and Simsy on the backside. Close hard drops he raised, though, so that's a bit of a 1-for-1 to start things off here. Simsy trying to find the same pressure that he has. You have to look at this Pip. I mean, he's gotten it a couple times here in this game. Bomb King game number 1, but Pip 2 and 3, he's making his presence felt. Matching a Victor in damage, which is, not easy to do. Victor is a pretty popular pick here on Stone Keep, and always somebody who you can pretty much lean on for some guaranteed damage. So Pip keeping up with that is pretty good. Ineffable is going to be the guy, though, who's trying to stop this out. The Hexifier and Through Time and Space are going to come out. Be good for a couple kills there. Bulka is going to drop Victor that we were just talking about. Erase cleans up William Birkin as well. Cruncy going down low, but there's only 3 now on the defense for All Business. Make it 2. Some respawns are going to come out, but if Khan falls here, this one could be over, and it is going to be over. And Clownfiesta, yet again, a clean 2-0 to start off the map.
I'm going to take everyone back about a year and a half.
Let's rewind.
To a specific LAN that was here at Skillshot in November, before we were even Skillshot. And Simsaloo was playing at the time on Virtus Pro. And he's playing a lot of Pip that LAN. And that is one of the LANs that Virtus Pro was able to come through and dominate in. And it was, I want to say, mostly in part to the fact that Simsaloo is a really good Pip. It was also just really good for their meta at that time, so being able to come in and play the LAN the way they wanted to worked out perfectly for them. But that's part of the reason why I think it's so easy to just pick up and say, hey, look, Simsaloo is really good at Pip. Now he has a Luminary boost behind him as well, so not only is he doing all his damage, but he's going to be able to get a little bit more bonus on those last few shots that he needs. That admittedly, if you've been watching him, you don't really need that extra damage.
He's been able to distract the All Business lineup pretty well. A bit of a different start here. All Business electing to go for the point first, fight afterwards. Oh, but a nice stun comes out. The Whirlwind's going to keep the Leon alive, and Ineffable cleans up 2 now with the barrage. Make it 3 here for him in this fight. So he flips this game on its head. But this is what we've seen from All Business every time. They go down a quick 2-0, find a clean team fight, answer it back with a point of their own because of the fast cap.
Well,
and now we'll see if I'm predicting Clownfiesta defends and then cleans up the final point fight, and it'll be a spitting image. Every single game is going to go the same way. But All Business are on the front foot right now, utilizing only a handful of ultimates in that one. The Enlightenment is going to come out. It's going to be just wide. Closar is going to fall for his efforts. And Simsalud cleaning up one as well. So this is a defense that's starting out very well for Clownfiesta.
That entire fight I was watching kind of two things. One was the positioning, again, from Clownfiesta. The minute they saw All Business wasn't on the high ground, their reaction wasn't to stay on the high ground and try to push an advantage from up there.
Right.
It was to jump down there with All Business, to jump into the fray and force the fight to come out. And unfortunately for them, that ended up putting them in a position perfectly for that Victor barrage. But then there was an Evil Mojo that was slowly but surely charging up, and it's like, can Simsalud find 3 kills on his own and like single-handedly win this point back? As we saw, he didn't, but he's in that position still. He's holding on to that ult.
Oh, no.
Not sure that's where Closar wanted to dash to, but there's a lot to be said about, I guess, where Clownfiesta have been kind of using their ults, utilizing it, and where they are keeping in, and this goes back to what I was mentioning earlier about the Virtus Pro, that kind of mentality of, you know what, hold on to your ults for a long time. It's something that we've seen a lot in Europe, and it kind of originated, I want to say, with them, where it's just like, sometimes they'd hold on to them too long, but it feels like Clownfiesta know exactly when they want to use them, so they're not popping them too early or too late.
No, and they still have some ready here. They have the Evil Mojo on the back end of that point fight, so it hasn't come out yet for Simpsy. And they were not on the offense. They were actually on defense, but full court pressed into the All Business base. Erase did find a couple earlier on in this defense to stall it out. 30 seconds left, about halfway there here for All Business. Be careful there. Bolka finds one with the through time and space. Closar answers back onto Erase as well, and now Closar is the target of aggression here from the Ruckus. He's able to turn back some damage, but Simsalud sweeps in and cleans that one up. With 20 seconds left, this could be the fight with kills getting staggered out as they are. If William Birkin drops here, he is. He's going to elect to jump off, reset himself. They have 5 ultimates available, but this is a tough one to push through.
I don't think I love watching people jump off the map because it's just always comedic to me for that. But watching Barrick do it was a special treat. I don't know what made it so much different, except maybe it was like kind of the comical, the way he flails his arms in a rocket boot that makes that big difference, where it's just, it's hilarious. And this is that barrage that made the big difference. You could see Crunchy gets aggressive, and I think, again, maybe underestimating how much damage a Victor can do in a very short amount of time. There were a couple of other shots, I think, that connected with him to burn him down that quickly, but it was really Grenade plus this Predator card kind of playing into effect where Ineffable, as long as he's using his Iron Sights, he's got lifesteal. He's keeping himself alive. Victor does a pretty good chunk of damage, so going through all of that, you have to be very, very careful on who you aggress on. Ineffable cannot be locked in a corner because he will fight back.
And the items finally coming out now for All Business. They started off the last point fight with nothing. 4 resiliences as well for that Evil Mojo. That's something we saw last game. Paid off a little bit, but Simsal was still able to make his impact felt. The Evil Mojo comes out there and drops Closar, drops Xenost as well. So those are going to be good shots, and they are looking for the win here. Ineffable staying back, pouring out some damage now with this victory. Raze is able to clean up the Barrack as well, though. But All Business are the ones on the front foot, or excuse me, Clownfiesta are the ones on the front foot. They're on the point, and now they're going to pick up the aggression as well. 51% here for them. And my prophecy could come true. The defense followed by the point fight win is certainly in the cards here for Clownfiesta.
I mean, they've got control, they've got the zone. The question is whether or not they can hold on to it for 20% more. A nice Void Grip up in the air, but there you get to see Resilience playing a little bit of a role, and Dome Shield's going to get popped on the point.
Dome Shield as well as the Whirlwind coming out, and that's going to keep All Business nice and topped off. Through time and space, goes a little bit wide. Nice Enlightenment, finds some damage onto the Ruckus, but that's just going to drop his shield. William Birkin cleans up 2 in this fight. Simsalud drops 1 for himself as well. Now he's aggressing onto the Khan. The Khan is low, but he pulls up the shield to keep himself alive. 85% here on the point for All Business. They actually could flip this one on its head, and they do! And I'm wrong. And I'm very wrong. Clownfiesta unable to clean it up here, but All Business find a good team fight, utilizing those ultimates well again. That's what changed for them in the first fight. They did it well here a second time. All Business find themselves their second point fight win.
If they were able to burn down that con a little faster, then this game would have, or that point fight would still be going on. Like, that con ulting Ovim exactly when he did, just stopping that Inara from being able to get the touch, is really the difference maker. It seemed like all of Clownfiesta was kind of just arranging themselves based on, Ovim's going to be able to touch here. There's no chance he doesn't. And because you see Con dash from the high ground down, okay, dash is down. Don't have to worry about it. It's just the overpower. Davozy keeping his team in the set, at least for now, but unfortunately the line of scrimmage is now just outside of All Business's base, and they're the ones trying to push.
If the payload could go backwards, it would be right now. But unfortunately it is stuck back on the point. Simsalou keeping himself up and out of sight. Unfortunately not out of sight of Closar, but he flips around the damage. That's actually a very nice reversal there. And the team fight is going to be going down in the All Business base, so they're just looking to get back to the payload right now, and Ineffable helps them do just that. But you imagine this is more of a, depending on how far forward the payload is, this is just an ultimate charging round on the side of Clownfiesta. You might be able to use some right now with a minute left and get those recharged for next time. All Business as well, looking maybe to get some ultimates ready for that final point fight. But Clownfiesta, it's really been an ultimate disadvantage and maybe not necessarily misuse, but different impacts of ultimates that have allowed All Business, I think, to find some point fight wins. Clownfiesta looking to change that.
I mean, a 4-man wipe is definitely, 5-man wipe now essentially is going to make this a little bit easier for All Business, but that was, I mean, the way Clownfiesta is treating it, that was only the first choke. That's not even the actual choke on the map. There's an arch they have to get through that's coming up on their push. And if Closar can kind of keep this aggression, if they can keep Clownfiesta locked up on the high ground, it'll look a little easier. But Ovim's already getting aggressive, and this is exactly where the payload needs to break through in order to find yourself a nice push.
Ineffable drops Crunchy, so that's a big one on his side. Now you hear some ultimates starting to get pulled out. Ineffable is the driving force here on this offensive push. It's the Inara stuck alone with her wall on the back side there. A couple characters now coming out of the base for Clownfiesta with 6 seconds left. Would you see the barrage? Would you see the ultimate? Maybe not with it being so close. Not with William Birkin finding 2 and Ineffable dropping 1. Overtime ticking away, but that's not going to matter. All Business going to push it through. Both teams 3-3 here, 5-5 ultimates. And this is the point fight of Ultimate Destiny.
That entire push, at least the last, I want to say 20 seconds we were watching, really, was Ineffable saying, who needs a barrage? I have Grenadier, which is going to do just as much, maybe not as much damage, but in terms of like efficacy and what it was able to control, health bars on Clownfiesta the minute they step out of the base, like, cool, 3 or 4 of you just got hit with 1 grenade, and then he immediately tossed another one in there. You're either back in the base trying to heal up, or you're going to stand there, take that damage, and find yourself maybe 1 to 2 shots from his rifle down. Like, you do not want to stand within all of that. And so it was just well played, Ineffable kind of keeping the pressure on, and then William Birkin and Davozy applying the pressure that he's using, or taking advantage of it, I should say, and getting aggressive with it.
That grenade comes up a little short. Actually takes a little bit more damage than I think he was expecting to, but All Business are the first ones to go on the point. That's an Evil Mojo. That's a through time and space as well, and a Hexafire. So All Business are utilizing a lot of their, or excuse me, Clownfiesta is utilizing pretty much all their ultimates right now. They are going to win the fight because of it, but All Business haven't flipped anything except for the Dome Shield. So Clownfiesta need to get this full court press in. They need to get All Business pushed back in their base because they are at a severe ultimate disadvantage if this one ends up coming back.
I mean, right now, 80%. This is exactly where they started to lose it last time. But the kill that's looking to come out, potentially no con, is going to turn it around and get rid of Simsy.
99 turns to 100. And the Barrack just short of contesting there at the end of that game. And that was very close. Honestly, I think if All Business were able to get back into that fight right there, I mean, I think Clownfiesta had just enough time to win that one.
I mean, and they were right on the edge. Like, I mean, ults were up. They just got rid of Simsalou. So you're looking at a point fight. If you touch there, you get overtime. I think that turns around, but they just weren't close enough. Weren't close enough there. Weren't close enough
game. Clownfiesta take it 3-0. That's going to do it for set number 1 of the day. Send it back to Evan and Nick to break it down.
Weren't close enough. That was a good joke. He really made us chuckle over here on the desk.
That's our Davey.
Little chuckle, huh? Well. Good stuff, Dave. Good stuff. Now, it's time to go into the next set because this set doesn't need any break. Okay, we'll break down this last game. I'm all business about this day, okay? But no, really, All Business did a good job there. Ineffable popped off on that victor. I like a lot of the adjustments they made. Closest game by far on the map that was probably the least out there. So maybe looking to that in the future when you do have this matchup, if they face off again,
Perhaps.
maybe being a little bit more traditional, trying to stay on more of, where you're having some even footing and less on the slippery icicles of ice mines
And things of the like.
and things of the shattered desert,
Plenty of damage there, certainly, for Mr. Ineffable, 14 and 6 as well. Not exactly the most common thing, but it is starting to be on the come up a little bit on Stone Keep. So that's the essence of all business, though. That is the weirdness that I think they have kind of rocked and rolled with here. Not getting the value on some of these power picks, 2 and 7 on the con. Yeah, funny business here from Clownfiesta on the zone. Just a couple more tricks up their sleeve on the hold.
Very hard team to ban out, and so yeah, again, I guess the overarching theme is trying to do weird enough stuff for them, even though All Biz is trying to make that as their identity potentially. It just doesn't really work against Clownfiesta because they're that good, they're that flexible, and they've got a lot of experience across their roster. So we'll see if that ends up adjusting over the course of this split, the PML in Week 5. Still plenty of weeks to go, but we are rounding in the halfway point, so there's definitely a lot of conversations that need to happen for these teams. Moving on, though, we have a set coming up that is going to be just as exciting. We've got Sour Team being able to play. These guys, Perdo, Sheepa, and Ninu, they've actually lost against Clownfiesta. They're trying to recover from that, reclaim this conversation around being in the #1 spot, but they've got to get a win against Blazing Asars, and that is not going to be the easiest thing to do, but I have faith that they'll probably be able to do it.
And they're still on schedule to get Zarini back at some point during this phase, so there's also a conversation of how long are we going to be kept in limbo here? How much effort are we going to put into playing around this substitute player? He might be back. Navi has gone. They're on and off, right? They're coming for a couple of weeks, playing their games. They're going to be off, I believe, for 2 weeks before they come back to play more games. So you're right, he could be back there and playing.
If they have Zarini, that'll be a big deal. Let's leave that for the next desk host as we take a quick break and get ready to bring you some more PML action right after this.
The Paladins Minor League, to you by Skillshot, Hi-Rez, Evil Mojo, INAP, Steel Series, and Respawn.